Hello stamping friends, and welcome to this week's video. Today we are going to be focusing on a very beautiful suite from our catalog, the Mediterranean Bloom Suite. And I just wanted to start by showing you all of the elements of that suite. So just like any of our suite collections, you can order the entire suite under one product code, or you can order each of the individual parts. So this suite includes a bundle. This happens to be our most expensive bundle in the catalog. But once I show it to you, I think you will understand why it includes so many beautiful things and lots of dies in the die set. So first, the stamp set, you have 4 different sentiments, and you have 2 large orange images. This one is really fun for backgrounds, and then a few of the blooms here, the flowers. So I love the stamp set. You know, the reason I had to get this one, we have orange and lemon trees in our backyard, and I couldn't resist. The other reason I couldn't resist is these dies. So you have 2 full sheets of dies in here. You have the open dies that will cut out those large images, the ones that'll cut out the flowers, and you have all these little detailed ones, more tiny little blooms, more greenery, and there's multiples. So I don't know that these are exactly the same, but you can cut out a bunch at one time, which I love. And then here is the showstopper. So this is actually 3 different dies. This die right here is one of the reasons I wanted this bundle, because you can use this and it cuts out a shape that will fill most of your card fronts. So you can cut this out of designer series paper. And I just love the scalloped edges. I think that is so much fun. But then you can pair it with these 2 dies. So you can run these 2 through together. We're going to do that on one of our cards today. I'll show you, and get this nice greenery frame. If you want it all filled in, you can run this one with it too, and then you have greenery all throughout. So lots of options with these dies. You can use this piece by itself too, or cut it apart for even more greenery behind your images. Lots and lots of options with these dies, and because of the size too, I think that is one of the reasons this is the most expensive bundle in the catalog. So if you are watching today and you are thinking, I really want that, but it is pricey, I agree with you. Here are a couple suggestions for you. One, you could add this suite to a starter kit, because you'll be saving yourself some money that way. The starter kit's $99, but you get to pick out $125 of product. So this bundle is $62 by itself. The entire suite with the paper and the embellishments is $83. So you could add that to a starter kit and you'd still have some left over to pick out some other products to go along with it, like maybe some Stampin' Blends to color your images, or a few ink pads, adhesives, other papers, whatever you want. And the starter kit has free shipping too. So you would be saving yourself some money that way if you want to get this expensive bundle or the entire suite. That's one way to save yourself a bit of money. The other way is if you would like to host a party. I do only online parties right now, but the way that works is we get together a group of your friends and we have a private Facebook group, and I will post for a couple of days and we can kind of tailor it to you and your friends. Like if they're avid crafters, then maybe we'll do something like the card class I'm doing here today. Or if they are beginning crafters, we'll focus more on our kits and all the fun things you can do with those. So we can kind of tailor it to you, and then you are able to earn host dollars based on the sales of your party, and you can use those host dollars to help purchase your bundle. So if you are interested in either of those things, you just let me know, and I want you to get this in your hands if you want it, because it is awesome. Now, the other beautiful part of this suite is the designer series paper. It is 12 by 12. And there are lots of beautiful patterns with oranges and lemons. And then on the back, here's where this to me is the Mediterranean part. The blues and whites and some of these shapes. So just gorgeous, gorgeous prints here. Love this one. So these are larger. You could even cut out like the squares, but it's like those Mediterranean tiles. So pretty. This one is full of lemons. And then another blue pattern. Here you've just got some of the blooms. This one's so pretty too. You could even use one of your circle dies or punches to punch that out. So, excuse me, so pretty. Here is a sheet of lemons. So these you could fussy cut if you want. More of the Mediterranean blues. Now this sheet is cool because the dies will cut out the oranges on here. So you could die cut a whole sheet of oranges, and then you would not have to color them. And we're actually going to do that on our first card. I cut it out of the paper. So that is a nice option too, if you are not in the mood for coloring. And then this one. So isn't that paper just beautiful? And I'm going to move that to the side. And then we have embellishments too. So if you order the whole suite, you get the bundle, the paper, and these pretty embellishments. Night of Navy, these I think are clear, and I'm not sure if this is peach pie or pumpkin pie. Let me check the color on the paper, because that usually will tell us. Peach pie, I bet these are, because both colors are in the paper, but these are a little bit lighter. So, all right, should we get started with our cards? If you would like a card kit for the cards we are making today, I always offer that with my online card class every week. So to get this week's card kit, you need to place an order with me now through Tuesday, and I will post a shopping link in the description. So use that, and all you have to do is spend more than $40 before tax or shipping. If you spend more than $50, you will also get double the cards, so you'll get 2 of each, and then through July 31st, it's bonus days, so if you spend over $50, you will earn a $5 coupon with your order also to use in August, so that is a lot of fun. You know what? I'm going to bring in all 3 cards to show you what you would get in the card kit. They are just so, so pretty. I love this suite. So these are the 3 cards we will be making today. Now I will tell you this suite is a little bit fussier than some. It's going to take some time for the coloring and some of the more intricate dies. So this one is maybe one if you are a more avid crafter, but I truly think any kind of crafter can use this bundle and have success. It's just not going to be your quick and easy cards, maybe easy, but not quick. So this is our first card today. And I know this week's video is recorded, but I do like to send out the cards that I make every week. And I draw winners from those people who comment and share and like the video. So even though this week is recorded, please still interact, comment, let me know you're here and say hi. Let me know what you like or don't like about the cards. Let me know if you have this bundle. And then I'll draw winners next week to send the 3 cards to. So that's a lot of fun too. We do that every week. Okay, so this one, and what I dump out of the envelopes is exactly what you will get in your card kit if you place an order this week. So if you don't already have the bundle, you can substitute your own stamps. You can add the bundle to your order. Do whatever you want, but you will need the bundle or something similar to make the cards look like mine. Okay. We have a Night of Navy card base. This is 5.5 by 8.5 and folded in half. And then I have a piece of basic white here, 5 1/4 by 4. And this I've embossed with the Distressed Tile embossing folder. This one, I think some of the shapes in here really mimic some of those Mediterranean patterns on the Designer Series paper. And I think it works really well with this suite. So if you are going with the starter kit option, or you're just ordering yourself and you want something else that coordinates, this embossing folder is an awesome one that I think goes really well with this suite. And that's called the Distressed Tile 3D embossing folder. Okay, I'm going to adhere that to my card base. And then I have a piece of the Designer Series paper that measures 4 by 4. Now I think I've done this a few times recently, but I think this technique is coming back where you tear the paper. And you can do this however you want. So we're going to use both sides, and I kind of want one to be a little bit taller So I'm going to start right up here very close to the edge. And you want to keep your fingers very close together while you're doing this, your thumbs. And you want to pull it towards you. That's how you are going to get that white edge. So I'm just angling down just a little bit. So I've got a piece like this. And then this piece I'm going to flip over and we'll put it on this side. So one piece of designer series paper, and we're just going to tear it to add some texture and interest, and then we get to see both sides also. So you can line this up with the edge of your white, like this, and then we'll add some adhesive to this one. Now this card was inspired by one I saw from demonstrator Lena Gersa, and my card is pretty similar to hers, but not exactly like hers. And a couple cards I've copied recently or been inspired by, I think the demonstrators are really using the card sketches that are in our catalog. Have you seen those? They are on page 22, and there's a whole bunch of them on there, and I think they're awesome. So I hope they keep doing that because it is great inspiration. Okay, like I told you before, there's that sheet in the designer series paper that has all the images of the oranges, and I use the dies to cut out some oranges. So we are going to add those to our card with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Now I do like to color, but maybe you don't. So maybe you would just use the designer series paper every time. But we are going to do some coloring today too. So I'm just going to kind of arrange that here in the center. And then I have a little label that I have cut out with our Unbounded Beauty dies. This is a new bundle that we featured a while back, but I love the dies because there's just lots of little labels. They are awesome. We're going to use Night of Navy ink to coordinate with the rest of our card. And I'm using 2 of the sentiments in the stamp set that will work together. Hello and just checking in. So I'm going to do the hello first. See if I can get it straight. Or straight enough, right? And then just checking in. Got to be quiet while you do it, right? That helps you concentrate. All right, so there we go. There's our sentiment. And this I am going to add with some dimensionals too. And we're going to just tuck this under the leaf of that orange. So just like this. I think that's about right. Okay, then there is no ribbon in this suite, so you can use whatever you would like. If you have white baker's twine, that would work. If you have like a narrow ribbon, that would work. I'm using linen thread today. Linen thread goes with everything, doesn't it? Staple to have in your craft room. So I am tying a bow with my linen thread, and we'll trim that here. And we'll add that with a mini glue dot right here at the top of our branch. And then you can trim it to whatever length you want. And then of course we need some bling for our card. So we're going to add a few of the navy dots from our embellishment here. Sometimes I like to stick them in the center of these tiles. They don't have to be, but I kind of like to do that sometimes. And 3 is a good number of embellishment, any odd number, so you could add more if you wanted. But there is our first card. Really pretty, right? This suite makes it easy to make beautiful cards. Okay, I'm going to stick that one right in the envelope so it will be ready to send to one of you who is commenting. So make sure that you are interacting and you'll have a chance to win one of the cards today. Okay, let's bring in our second card. I think this one is my favorite. This one was inspired by a card that Melissa Faust did. You've probably heard me say her name a couple times recently. I really like her style, and I mostly copied her layout, and I changed up the colors a little bit. so let's get all our pieces here. For this one, I have a balmy blue card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to fold that in half. And then I have another piece of balmy blue here that is 4 by 5.25, and we're going to do a little bit of stamping on this one. So this stamp is great for adding just a little bit of texture to your backgrounds. And we are using our balmy blue ink. This is a really nice technique for backgrounds too. And let me grab a scrap paper here in case we go off the edge a little bit. You can see this is the one I used for Friendly Fins a few weeks ago. So stamping the same color ink onto the same color cardstock is just a nice subtle background. And we're just going to stamp a few in each corner. And you can kind of turn your stamp around and decide how you want it to go. And I think that's probably good. Just a few in each corner. You can add on your other pieces and see if you like how that looks or if you want to add more. When I made my original card, I first stamped on the other side of the paper. I didn't like it. I flipped it around. I did this side. I flipped it around. So you have two sides of your paper. You can always do both sides and see which one you like better. You can turn it this way. So you have options. I love that there's always two sides to the paper. That's what I tell people. If you mess up, turn it over. Okay. We've also got a piece of Night of Navy here that is 2.25 by 5.25. And then this is a piece of the Designer Series paper that is 2 by 5.25. So we're just going to layer those together. Let's find where I set my adhesive. There it is. And so the top and bottom are going to match up, and you'll have a little border on each side. Okay, now before I lay this down, I'm going to make sure that I've got these where I want them. Or do I like it better this way? Nope, I like it better this way. Okay, so we'll go with that. Layer all this down. There are quite a few layers on this card, and we are going to use dimensionals on a few layers. So I am doing this all flat so that the card doesn't get too bulky. And then we can adhere this piece to our card base. Okay, like that. All right, next I have a circle that I've cut with our Spotlight on Nature dies. This is another awesome set. It is part of a bundle, and I actually don't have the stamp set. I just got the dies. There are a number of different sizes of circles with different things on the edge, and it was a must-have for me from this catalog because circles are great for layering, they're great for sentiments, and I know I'm going to use these dies a lot. I already have. Okay, so this we want to kind of put in the center of our card. And then I have a piece of white here, and we're going to do our stamping. So this is the larger of the orange images. I have my Memento black ink here, and that's the ink you'll want to use if you are coloring with Stampin' Blends markers. If you choose to color with something else, you can use whatever black ink pad you want. And this is a larger stamp, so I find it's easier to ink these larger ones like this, where you take the ink pad to the stamp, and then you can kind of see that you've got good coverage all over. And we have a nice image, hopefully. Okay, so we are going to stamp that on here. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to do some coloring. So the colors I have today in the Designer Series paper, we have Peach Pie and Pumpkin Pie. And I originally was going to use Pumpkin Pie to color my oranges to give them that nice deep orange color. But I discovered my Pumpkin Pie Stampin' Blends, the dark one, was dried out. So I moved to Peach Pie, and I think I still got a nice orange color. So you can decide which orange you want to use. I think either one will work well. So I'm going to start with my dark Peach Pie. You can use the brush or the tip end, whatever you would like. And you see these black dots here. That is kind of the artist's clue to us where to color the dark. Now, I did think when I was coloring about the spot where these dark spots are in the middle. That's about where I thought the highlight should be, not a dark spot. But you know what? I just went with the dark spot. You could make that a highlight. So we have a color lifter that will pull up some of the color and kind of make it lighter there. And that might be a good place to use the color lifter instead of making it dark. But I just decided to go with the dark this time. My other recommendation when you are coloring, I always start with dark, but you can do either way, start with light or dark. I'm doing one orange at a time because I feel like the ink stays a little wet for a while and it blends together better with the light and the dark if you don't let it dry out too much. So I'm doing one orange at a time so that my ink stays a little bit wetter and it blends a little bit better. And I kind of go over where the dark was too. Remember with our Stampin' Blends, every time you color over it, it adds another layer of color. So you can see I'm kind of doing that around the edges, and then it's naturally lighter and gives a highlight in the middle. Okay, we'll go back to our dark to do the next orange. And same thing, I'm going to kind of go around where there would be a shadow underneath that bloom, and then those dark spots that the artist left us as a clue of where to color. And so there would probably be a shadow here underneath the leaf too. And then we'll go back in and fill in with our light peach pie. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how orangey the peach pie was. I have not, it's probably my least used new in color is the peach pie. So it was kind of fun to get to use it a little bit more. All right, and then we're going to go finish our last orange, and you might want to use your tip end of your Stampin' Blends to get in those small areas, but I'm just using the brush end today and going fast because you don't want to sit here and watch me color all day. If I was doing this card not on a video, I would sit here and take my time coloring, and I don't know, I enjoy coloring, but I don't think that I would enjoy watching somebody color for a long time. Maybe that's kind of relaxing to you. I don't know. Comment and let me know. But I didn't want to sit here and make you watch me color all day. So we will just do the fast version. Okay, there's our oranges. Now, I believe the blooms, so we have orange and lemon trees in our backyard. The blooms are mostly white, but I'm going to color the centers yellow. So this yellow that I'm using is Lemon Lolly. It is a lighter yellow than Daffodil Delight, but you could use Daffodil Delight too. So I did the dark in the centers, and then I'm going to come back with the light and see all these lines on the flowers. I'm just going to go over those lines with my light Lemon Lolly. And like I said, we have orange trees and the blooms are basically white, but I think adding a little bit of the yellow here looks pretty, so that's why I did it. Okay, and then for our green, you could use any green. Old Olive would look good here, or you could even use a darker one. I'm using Granny Apple Green because that is my favorite green. And I'm starting with the dark, and I'm going to color in these stems with the dark. Now you could add in a brown here too. So on the real orange trees, there are branches that are brown, but a lot of the newer growth where things are growing is actually green. So I think you could go either way. You could make some of these stems brown if you wanted to, but I'm doing green because that is how it looks on my tree. And then I'm just going to go down the veins of the leaves with the dark. And again, if you are taking your time and you are going a little bit slower, you may want to do a few at a time and then come back in with the light so that it blends a little bit better. I think I'm going fast enough today that it'll be fine if I just do them all at once. But like I said, the ink stays wet for a little bit and it'll blend better if you get it when it is still not dry. Okay, and then we'll come in with our light, and I'm going to go back to those ones that I did first. And you know what? The tip of my Granny Apple Green on my brush tip is not great, but we'll make it work. I'm just going to not quite go to the edge because I don't want to get out of the lines. And that is actually a tip someone shared with me once, that it looks more realistic if you have that little bit of white on the edge, like a highlight. And so sometimes I do that on purpose. Today I'm doing it on purpose so I don't get my messy brush outside of the lines, but you can do it on purpose to make it look more realistic too, not just because the brush tip of your marker is a little messed up. Okay, so on my next order, you all need to remind me, I need pumpkin pie blends and apparently Granny Apple Green too, because all right, and you can go back over and add extra layers of color if you want your leaves to be a little bit darker or less contrast between the veins and the rest of the leaf. So remember, I'm just adding another layer of color here. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to pull out our die for this one. And you definitely will want to use your regular size machine for these dies because some of them are larger. Some of them will fit in the small machine, but you definitely will want your big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for like that big outline one. That will not fit in the mini one. I'm not sure if this one will or not. I know you can't quite see it, but I'm going to line it up. And you want to not see a white edge around the edge of the die when you put it on. Should line up with the edge of your image. And there will be a white outline when you run it through. So I know you can't really see too well. Oh, you can see the edge of it. Okay. And I got new plates a while ago and I haven't switched them out. Mine are pretty warped. At least the top one is. And I just keep using it instead of switching to the new ones I bought myself a while ago. Okay, let's move that out of the way until our next card. All right, I'm going to put that die away so I don't lose it. So let's see how it goes in here. Probably like that. Look how pretty that is. It is kind of fun to color. I don't know if you like coloring, but I do. Okay, so I'm going to pop this part up with dimensionals too. So we'll get those back in. Now, if you did not want to do all the coloring, you could always use the image from the designer series paper again, and it would look just as pretty. So if you had to choose, would you color or cut it out of the designer series paper? Tell me in the comments. Okay, then I have this little basic white banner that I've cut with our Stylish Shapes dies. We're going to bring our Night of Navy ink back in. And we are using another sentiment from the stamp set, All the Love. And this will fit perfectly into this little banner here. Like that. Close up our ink. Now the sentiment I am going to lay flat on top of the oranges here. If you want, you can tuck a dimensional under this side. And maybe I will do that. I didn't do it on my first card, but I think that'll help hold it in place. So we will do that. Get my adhesive to go here. And then you can decide where you want to put it. I think about there. Okay, we are going to make that straight. We're going to tie a bow with our linen thread again at the top of the stem. I think that is a fun place to put a bow. You could put it in a different spot if you want. I liked it at the top of the stem. Trim that. And we'll add this guy with a mini glue dot. And then this time we're going to add a few of the clear gems. So let me find my take your pick tool. Here we go. And we're going to add a few down here. And let's see, one up there. All right, there is our second card. So pretty, right? I really love this suite. Okay, that one's going in an envelope too, so one of you will be getting it. All right, on to our third card. So this one was inspired by Erica Serwin. Some of you know she is one of my favorite demonstrators to follow, and a creative convention that was put on by other demonstrators I attended recently. She had a class using this bundle, and so I mostly copied her card, but I did a few things differently. She had that inside piece in here too, and it was just so fussy with the die cutting. I decided I'm just going to do this frame and leave out that middle piece. And then I think I did something different with the sentiment too. But I mostly copied her card, and I think it's really pretty, and it's a fun way to show off that frame. So let's get all of our pieces out for this one. Now, I don't know about you, but Mossy Meadow is a color I do not use very often. So this card made me use the most Mossy Meadow I have probably used in years. So this one, since we're going to tie our twine or our linen thread around the top, I cut 4 1/4 by 11 and then folded in half for our card base. You could use a thick white for this too, because we are going to cover it up. I have a piece of the Designer Series paper here that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's going to cover the entire card front. So like I said, if you wanted to use a white card base instead, you could. I didn't cut an inside white piece for this card base, but I think it will look nice with the Mossy Meadow outline, you know. So I kept Mossy Meadow as the card base. All right, so with my dies ahead of time, I have cut out a solid shape of that pretty piece with the scallops, and then I ran it through again so it takes the outline die and then the second one that has the details. If you just do the details, it does not cut the edge, so you need both dies together, and you can run them through at the same time. And this you could do with adhesive sheets. I'm going to do it with glue, so I have just a little bit of wiggle room to get it exactly where I want. It's such a large piece. If you stick it down with the adhesive sheets in the wrong spot, it's going to be tricky to get back up. I think you could do it. And also, if you want to know the truth, I always forget to use my adhesive sheets before I run it through. So don't be like me. I think I've said that in every video I've done recently. Get your adhesive sheets out. And I should do like I say, not like I do, because I always forget. I need to like keep them right next to my die cutting machine, I think. And then maybe I will remember. So you don't have to put dots of glue on every leaf, but I'm just going here and there to make sure it's going to stick. I think I'm getting better at using the green glue. What do you all think? Less is more. It's not splooching all over the place. I think I even made this card, you know, the sample card without getting glue all over my fingers. So that is a win, because I used to get the glue all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to line it up, but that glue allows me to have a little bit of wiggle room to get it just right. And then we'll kind of press it down once it's in the spot we want. And look at that pretty piece. Love, love that detail. Okay, I'm going to close up my glue. This piece we are going to adhere to our card with Stampin' Dimensionals. And then we are going to do some more coloring. Now, I debated doing some TV magic and doing some of the coloring ahead of time. But I thought, oh, well, I'll just talk to you while I'm coloring, and I'll go as fast as I can. So stick this in the center with those dimensionals. And for this one, I have 2 pieces of white here. We're going to use the second orange image. This one just has 1 orange. And I'm going to stamp it twice. Now this black does not quite fit the stamp, so I only have one of these larger blacks. Let's see, this one is E. So E is probably the correct size for this stamp too, but I'm going to make it work because I wanted to have both of them mounted, and it worked well enough when I did it this way before. So in a pinch, you can fit this one on a D black, but you will need the larger E black for that larger orange image that we used on the last card. Or if you have like a Stamparatus or another stamp positioning tool or something like that, you could put it on there too. Okay, there's one. Nope, I didn't get the corner of that leaf. Oops. You know what? I'll do it again. It's because that's the corner that is hanging off the side, so I need to be careful and press that side down. Oops, I'm going to get ink on my fingers. Didn't get glue, but ink. Okay, made sure to press that down this time. There we go. Now we'll do the second one. See, that is why you have two sides of the paper. Sometimes you need to use them both, and no one will know the difference because it'll be covered up on the other side. Okay, make sure I've got that corner. Perfect. Okay, close up our ink. We do not want any accidents with that. So I'm just using the same colors. Again, you can use peach pie or pumpkin pie for your orange. And I'm starting with my dark again, right where those spots are, around where the shadow would be, center at the top. And then right here, you could do a highlight with the color lifter if you want, or you can just do it dark like that. And if you look at the designer series paper that has the oranges, I believe there is a highlight kind of in that area. So I'm not sure why they put the spots there. Maybe that was to show the highlight, and I'm just coloring it incorrectly. So you color it however you want. All right. There we go. So we're just coloring this one the same way. You know what? Maybe I'll do the orange on this one too, and then we will switch to the leaves. I always got to check which is dark and light, because sometimes it messes with you and you're not sure. But I like to start with the dark. When you color with Stampin' Blends, do you start with dark or light? I'm curious how other people do it, because I don't know if I am strange or if that's just how most people do it. So please don't tell me I'm strange. Just kidding. It doesn't really matter. And I'm not saying you are strange if you start with the light. I think either way is a fine way to color. Because it probably all looks the same in the end, right? So remember, I'm going over those edges and adding other layers of color, and then you end kind of here with a little bit of lighter for the highlight. Okay, let's do our Lemon Lolly next. So again, I'm going to use dark Lemon Lolly in the centers of those blooms. And we're actually going to put gems in the centers of the blooms this time, but if any's peeking out, we will have that color underneath. And then I have the light Lemon Lolly to just go over those lines in the flowers. And it does not have to be super exact. If you just get in the general area of where the lines are, I think you are doing great. And then we will, of course, finish off with our leaves. So I'm using Granny Apple Green, and you can use whatever green suits you. I believe there is Old Olive in the paper, so that would be a good choice also. I just feel like I wanted something a little bit brighter, so I used the Granny Apple Green. You know that about me, right? The bright colors are my favorite. It's so funny because when I joined as a demonstrator almost 12 years ago, the special that was going on when I joined was to get a whole color family of ink pads in your starter kit for free. So, do you want to guess what I chose? It was not the brights. I chose the subtles. So looking back, that kind of shocks me because now I love the bright colors, and I don't know what made me choose subtles, but that is what I chose. So I got all of the subtles ink pads, and of course 12 years ago our color families have changed several times since then. So I'm not sure how many of the colors are actually the same anymore, but now if I had to do it again, I would choose the brights. What is your favorite color family? We have brights, regals, subtles, and neutrals. And then of course our in colors. I love seeing the new in colors every year, and I really like this year's in colors. So I loved when they had that special too, to get those for free. Okay, there's that one. We'll do our leaves on here, and then we'll just need to die cut. Okay. Hopefully you are not getting too bored watching me color. I am trying not to take forever, but I also want to make it look nice, so when I send one of you this card, you don't think I did a terrible job coloring. All right. So today's video is recorded, obviously. We are traveling back from Florida today, and I'm filming this the day before we leave. So hopefully we have had a wonderful time. And next week I will be live again. And let's see, what are we doing next week? Do you want a little preview? Next week, I'm going to be using the Frosted Forest bundle, which is one of our new online exclusive products, and it has masks, which this is the first time that I've gotten one of the bundles with the masks. We have several of them, but I've never gotten one before. So I'm excited to use those and share them with you, and hopefully you're excited too. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit more color to my leaves, and then we will die cut them. Okay, let's get out our die. So this also cuts out some images in the designer series paper. There's both different sizes of oranges on that sheet, but you can also use it to cut out your stamped image. And this one may fit in the mini machine. I did not test it, but we're going to use the big machine because that's what I brought in here today. And you have to do this one twice because there's 2 images and only 1 die. So we'll do one and then do the other. Run it through. And then we'll finish assembling our card. Okay. So I've got one here. Let's put the other one in. You know you can't see this, but I'm lining it up just the same. I'll run this one through. There's that one. Okay, let's move all our pieces out of the way here. I'm going to put that die away so it does not get lost. And now we can finish assembling our card. So we're going to do 1 orange in each corner. And this card too, we are going to pop these up with dimensionals. And see, there was our boo-boo of the first orange. No one will see it because it is on the back. So you can just kind of line that stem up in the corner, and that one wasn't lined up quite as well as it should have been, but that's okay. line the stem up in this corner. All right, and then let's find where I put that label. Here we go. This is also cut with the Unbounded Beauty dies. Remember on our first card, this label was from that same die set, so lots of cute little labels in there. We're using our last sentiment from the stamp set here, You're the Best Kind of Person, and I'm using Old Olive ink. So I did use Granny Apple Green to color my leaves, but the reason I chose Old Olive is because my Mossy Meadow ink pad needs a re-inker. Need to add that to my next order too. Mossy Meadow is a color I rarely use, so I don't have the re-inker for that one. So I decided to use Old Olive because it's kind of the same tone as Mossy Meadow. And that wasn't as clean of a stamp as I would like either. So guess what? The person who wins this card will get the first one that I made. How's that? And I think one of my gems is falling off here. We'll have to re-add that one. It got knocked off and I don't know, it's not super sticky. So I'll do that. Right now, we'll stick it in the envelope. And this will be for whoever wins this one. Okay. So we're going to finish this up. So it's going to overlap those oranges a little bit. So I don't want to add dimensionals there, but I'm going to add dimensionals on these corners. And I think that should be enough to hold it in place on our card. Let's see, now I got to see again where those go, those corners. Because knowing me, if I didn't double check, I would put them in the wrong corners and then we'd be out of luck. Okay, so I don't know if this is exactly centered, but I positioned it so it goes over that leaf because I thought it looked kind of strange if just a tiny bit of that leaf was hanging out, but you can put it wherever you want. Okay, so a couple things to finish off our card. We are going to use our linen thread again, and this time, this is why we cut this card base 4 1/4 by 11, because we're going to wrap around the top here. Make sure I have plenty of thread for a nice kind of loopy bow on this one, but you can make it as big or as small as you like. I probably cut myself too much. So this goes right up at the top and we are just going to tie a bow. Yeah, I definitely cut too much, but that's okay. Better to have too much than too little. That is what I would say. Okay, so kind of a bigger bow on this one, and then you can trim, and I probably have enough to tie another bow, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, like that. And then that probably needs to be a little tighter too. That's all right. Okay, pull in our embellishments. This time we're going to use the peach pie ones. And I added big ones to the centers of all of my flowers on here. So I went big on this card. This is kind of like that fancy card that you'd send to a special person. And I mean, the sentiment fits that. You're the best kind of person, so you get the best kind of card. Who would you send this one to? I think I would send it to my mom. She's the best kind of person. And I would love to send her a pretty card like this. Maybe I should give her this card for her birthday. We are... well, now it's past her birthday, but it was her birthday this last week when we were on vacation with her. So maybe I will have to take this card and it can be her birthday card. Look at that. So pretty and fancy. This bundle just is gorgeous. Okay, let's bring back in the 3 cards that we made today. Let me know which one was your favorite. Oh, I love seeing them all together. They're so pretty, don't you think? This bundle is just so much fun. I hope you love it as much as I do. And I will be back next week live again. So I hope you will join me. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next week. Bye.